Assalamu alaikum, rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to the Late Show, and a belated Eid Mubarak to all our listeners and followers. I'm your host for this evening. My name's Babar Ali, and we have Soggy, who's looking so trim after Ramadan. He's looking like, actually we're looking, well, Soggy's looking trim, but there's nothing left of our guest. How are you doing, Soggy? Khair Mubarak. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. It was a good Eid. I'm going to miss Ramadan, to be honest with you. I mean, I felt it as Ramadan was leaving the last few days, you know. It's always a great month, I believe, for reflection and discipline. And, you know, it's sort of, Ramadan is always the best time to start good habits, I believe. And, you know, if you want to break bad habits, Ramadan is the perfect time to start as well. So, yeah, inshallah, you know, let's stay steadfast throughout the year, and inshallah, we'll see another one. Today's show, we will be talking with our very own Julian.
But this time, Julian as a guest.
Am I back to being a guest now?
You're a guest.
I left as a host, and now I've been
Julian has gone back to square one.
This is deja vu.
He is now a stranger again. We've got to check up on this guy.
No, but
Nice to meet you guys.
But his story is worth listening to, worth sharing, hence us airing it today. His dedication for what he's been doing is to be shared to the listeners out there, inshallah. It's a good
He's
listen
a man in
to.
demand. Plenty of people after him.
Yes,
I like being you.
No, he's most definitely in demand. I'll do the shout-outs later. They know who they are, you know. Don't forget me when we talk about Julian, you know. I know he's a nice bloke and all that, but, you know, come on, you know. But we'll go into that later.
Today's show, inshallah, you know, we'll be talking to Julian in depth about his recent travels. Today's show has been titled Boxing for Syria, and it's quite interesting really that Julian took it upon himself to take the boxing gloves and pads and whatnot over to refugee camps.
What was he thinking?
Why boxing? You know, people think, hold on, you know, don't they want food and aid? Why are you taking boxing gloves? You know, so you know
Well, let's hear it from the horse's mouth.
How are you doing, Julian?
I'm good. I'm a free man, and it's great to be back in the studio as a guest or a host or whatever.
No, you're a guest today. You're a guest.
I know my place.
So I mean, let's get to the beginning now. Where did this all come about? I mean, I know that you're regularly active, doing a lot of activist kind of work that you do, you know, for certain causes. You know, what made you do this? You know, boxing for Syria or taking
the boxing for Syria idea came about when Jamal and I were invited. Jamal is a friend who's been in the studio before. Sometimes he calls the show. You guys probably would recognise him. We were invited to contribute to the Zaytuna summer programme for refugee children, which is run every year in Turkey on the border with Syria for Syrian refugees. It's an American charity in origin, and a lot of the founders are from are American Syrians who obviously have a close eye on the conflict and the situation there and want to do something about it. So as such, we weren't volunteers. The Zaytuna programme selects people, goes after certain individuals, a lot of high-profile photographers, artists, psychiatrists to give the children psychotherapy. A lot of them are suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. So when it was suggested that we contribute to this, you said, why boxing? I'm fed up of teaching English as a foreign language. I don't think that is the be-all and end-all for getting an education. You know, why do we prioritise this?
On academia.
Yeah, you know, and as you said, the kids need clothing and aid and whatnot. But thanks to the abundance of contributions that have come from the likes of yourselves and many other charities, I think a lot of the kids have got the physical amenities that they need. They've got the clothing and they've got the food, but
is that so? I mean, the people there, they really got the necessities.
Well, I remember over Christmas the people were saying, look, stop sending clothing now. We've got enough clothing, but you need to prioritise what we need. We actually need medicine, or we need feminine care, or we need you know, you can't just throw money at it. You can't just throw clothes at it. You need to see what the people actually need. Yeah. And as much as they do need food and water and clothing and shelter, which are the bare essentials, you do also need therapy. If you're a child that has come through trauma, you need still education. And the school that we were at in the south of Turkey on the border in Rihanli, the Salam school, is a year-round school for Syrian children, and the teachers there are Syrian refugees also, and they are studying the Syrian curriculum full-time. They are kind of trapped in this little bubble in Turkey, longing to go home with whatever continuity that their community can provide for them. And they have a summer school and a winter school run by the Zaytuna program, which is part of the Karam Foundation. And we were offered a chance to go and contribute to it. And really, you said, why boxing? Boxing is just about all that Jamal and I could offer. It's the only thing that we are trained in and that we've drilled hundreds of times to be able to, at short notice, go and run boxing classes, and we've got the drills and
it's a niche, you know,
and whatnot. Yeah,
you're comfortable with it.
Exactly.
Can I just butt in there, Julian? I mean, you mentioned aid. I mean, me and Brother Yasser here done our little collection on Christmas Day. Did you see any aid getting through? I mean, I don't want to come across like, because there were trailers that we held full loot, and mashallah, keep Syria warm. They're on their 14th trailer, still loading. I mean, you may laugh, but then brothers are still loading. But was it? Yeah. Did you see anything getting through?
I didn't see trucks come and go in that sense, but.
But were the people receiving aid? Was there some aid?
We were there in summer, and I think it's easier to be there in summer than winter. And the kids looked well clothed and well fed. I didn't see much in the way of malnutrition.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But a big part of the project, and this is one of the other things that you can't just throw money at, was the dental workshop. A team of dentists were sent there, and they were pulling out infected teeth and giving the kids the dentistry that they need. And this is the kind of thing that you forget. Or that you take for granted here. If you have a toothache, you can go to your dentist tomorrow, whether it's NHS or not. We can get that done, and they can't. So the kids were having dental checkups and having teeth pulled out, and I think a lot of the I remember one of the dentists was saying, like, oh, it's all, you know, the boxing was really enjoyable, and the kids love doing the photography, and the kids love doing the painting and drawing, but they're going to remember me as the guy who pulled his tooth out. You know, everyone hates going to the dentist, but actually the kids were kind of coming up to you and showing you their gap teeth as like a badge of honour, and saying, yeah, look, you know. So it was actually kind of taken very positively.
Okay. Do you feel that boxing would help the kids as well? I mean, releasing, you know, any tension and anger and stuff like that. I mean, talk about, you know, psychologists being there and trying to, you know, mend people, you know, mentally.
Yeah.
Do you think the boxing helped in that sense?
Well, prior to going into it, the Zaytuna project were apparently very wary about taking on this boxer-sized program, as we worded it. I tried to emphasise the fact that we're not going to teach the kids how to beat the hell out of each other. We're going to give them the skills and the drills that you get from boxing training. And there was one of the psychiatrists who was out there, who's an expert in his field, a Brazilian guy called Alir, who great to watch the World Cup with, as he's a Brazil fan, obviously. And he was, I got chatting to him after one night watching the match, and he said, Julian, when I heard that you were doing boxing, I was really wary about it, and it's a fair question. Is it a good idea to take children who have fled a violent situation and teach them what is essentially a violent sport? But I
don't particularly agree with that.
Well, you've done boxing. I mean, you have the understanding, right?
Yes.
But I bet people have misunderstood you when you say I'm a boxer. They might think that you're a thug.
Well, yes. I mean, it's the way it's portrayed, I guess, in a way. I mean, I think before, you're going back in time a little bit, people may have saw it more of a barbaric sport. But as you can see, boxing is so mainstream now.
Yeah.
And it's open to everybody, and most of boxing fans have nothing to do with boxing. They just have a general like for the sport, and they appreciate the dedication that's involved in sport. And obviously, boxing is not a violent sport; it's a skill sport. And it takes a lot of skill and direction to actually hone, your technique.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not barbaric. I mean, if you are going there, teaching them how to, jump on top of each other and try to rip each other's ear off, and we've got a lot of promoting going on with Krav. Is it called Krav Maga? What's it called, man? Krav Maga. Yeah. I mean, something like that is barbaric. I mean, that's just got a. You get to your objective is just to...
Well, Krav Maga is the so-called Israeli official Israeli defense force.
It's very popular around here.
It must be the only Israeli thing that's popular at the moment.
Yeah. So anyway, getting back to the point. I mean, boxing. It teaches aggressive kids, especially, how to channel their aggression in the right way. And
Absolutely.
What you find is that a lot of the great boxers come from troubled backgrounds, and it's the boxing that actually saved them.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's how you, like you said, for someone who doesn't know, they will probably think, hitting in the face, that's barbaric.
Yeah.
But if you explain to them and teach them, then it becomes what you're trying to do.
I think you're absolutely right. I know I'm not a host, guys, but 01189 660 382.
Okay, yes.
Did I remember the number?
If you want to text in, it's 07909 567 527. It's 07909 567 527, and that's written on my heart.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Etched.
Any questions? I'll give you an honest answer. Yeah. But it's exactly as you say. I see boxing as that skill and that honourable sport that is not just mindless violence, but there's always these preconceived ideas that people have that you have to overcome, and I think we showed them that there's more to it than that. And this guy Alir said to me that the moment he saw the kids punching the pads and he saw the smile on their face as they were releasing that tension, that he knew that it was the right thing to do, the right thing to have. So we kind of not. I don't need to brag, as Sean Paul says, but we stole the show. There was basketball, there was painting, photography, whatnot, but everyone was kind of trying to sneak out of their class to come and do boxing. Okay. We had these 40 boxing gloves in a massive suitcase that we had to guard at all times, and we had classes right from 7 a.m. sometimes to 7 p.m. like almost solid.
How many kids at a time?
Well,
what class load?
We said we'd want to limit it to about 20.
Wow.
Occasionally it was more than that. I think there was 300 kids in the school itself, and we tried to give them all a chance to do the boxing. And anytime we'd try and catch half an hour's rest, we'd have to hide the suitcase in a tent somewhere. Sometimes it was in the scorching sun, and I remember being sat down drinking my water, and I saw in the distance I was like, oh, damn it, Jamal. So two kids have got hold of the gloves and they're boxing each other. And as we went close to confiscate them, it was two staff from the school. Two 30-year-old guys like whacking the hell out of each other. So it is, for those that haven't done boxing training, putting on a pair of gloves is a novelty. And the instinct is to just start whacking the person next to you. And we really tried to iron that out, and I would say, no, look, just practice on the gloves, don't hit each other, in my broken Arabic. It's quite funny. One time our afternoon class for boxing was just about to start, and we had the kids gathered round, and we thought, well, let's try something different. They're all here anyway. We got two of the skipping ropes. We teach them to skip as well, because that's traditionally what boxers do. And we tied two ropes together, and we had like people skipping in the middle, jumping in. How many can you do? 1, 2, 3. It was really fun. Everyone was crowded round and enjoying it. And this little old lady, who's the head of the school, came out, and I thought, oh, she's going to like this, because this is something nice, and it's not about violence, and it's bringing everyone together. She kind of just poked her head around the corner. She's like tapping her watch, like, can we do some boxing now? Can we get on with the training, please? Like, you came here to do boxing. This is not boxing.
I mean, getting there, what was your first impression? Is that what you pictured, or did you picture a more deprived, more in need? What was where they based you? What was a major thing that hit you instantly?
Arriving in Turkey, I spent a couple of 2 nights in Istanbul, which is a strange place anyway. It's where East meets West, and you can stand in 2 continents.
On one yard. Yeah.
Which is a very strange place. And having gone, and I saw the Hagia Sophia, the church that became a mosque, that became a museum, that you're not even allowed to pray in. And having gone from there to take another flight to the south of Turkey, you immediately notice the landscape is different, and if you're travelling with Syrians, they will tell you, oh look, this looks exactly like Syria. We could be in Syria now. And a lot of the people in Turkey there will have some Syrian heritage. There's some Kurdish people that live there. There's Alevi, Shia Muslims, and even the food they eat is probably very similar to Syria. And from speaking to the kids, they would always, whenever you're out in the open and you can see the horizon, they would point and say, oh, Syria, there's my home. And they're in this little enclave, trapped in this kind of no man's land. In fact, one of the conversations I had with a group of kids, something that I established as having something in common with them was that none of us could speak a word of Turkish, and they've lived in Turkey for 2 years now. And I said to them, well, how are the Turkish people? I said, I don't really know any,
They haven't integrated? Not made?
No, they haven't integrated, and it's this suspended, temporary. We're hoping to go home now. Well, are we going to go home yet? Next year. Well, a year has become 2 years. Has become
tomorrow.
Who knows when?
There was a program last night.
Yeah, I got a message about
Syria.
it. Yeah.
And it was just amazing. Well, not amazing. I don't know if it was heartbreaking or amazing. I don't know words to describe it. Hearing young kids, talking about, crushing, like fighting and destroying someone and hoping that someone's destroyed. The hate in their voices was just something. It's just something different. I mean, can you imagine kids here? Kids in England or Reading, for example, saying that we hope so and so gets destroyed and we hope so and so burns in hell and things like that. I mean, that is just really, really sad. I think, you know, that kids have to have that element of anger in them, you know, because of what's happened to them.
Well, from my conversation with the psychologist and the other experts, that anger is very real, and it needs to come out somehow. And our boxing project was about that. And when I was asked to, they did like some interviews. I was asked, you know, could you say on camera, you know, a particular moment that stuck in your mind? It's hard to say favourite moment, but you know, what was the memorable moment for you? And the moment that sprang to mind was the first time that I took a kid of about 13 or 14 on the pads, a guy called Muhammad Noor, and he was a very enthusiastic child, but not in a happy way, but in like I want to do more. You know, I really want to try my best at this, and I would be telling him, okay, give me 10 straight shots, and he would say, oh, I want to do 20, I want to do more, and as I was holding the pads for him, and he was firing his shots into the palm of my hand, and I'm catching them, it was like I could feel his anger coming out of him and into the pads and down my arms and like into my body. It was like oozing out of him. It was like an exorcism, and I'm not even, well, as you know, I don't believe in this kind of thing, but that's the only word I could use to describe it. Who knows?
We've got a perfect guess, mate.
We'll line that up.
We have to line that up.
We'll line that up. But this was like, it was like an exorcism, and I could feel the emotion coming out. And he was selected. The program asked us, you know, can you award someone to be the best boxer from the boys and from the girls for the week, and we awarded him. And in the culmination of events of the week's training, and everyone's done their project, and the basketball have done their bit, we were told to select 5 girls and 5 boys to kind of give some performance, give some feedback on what you've done, and this is, you know, in front of 300 of your peers, plus teachers, plus international volunteers. That's quite a nerve-wracking thing to be asked to do, but I wanted it to be nerve-wracking. And the 10 that we selected, we had them kind of backstage, like down a corridor, and I was warming them up on the pads, and I was saying, well, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do these combinations, and then you're all going to have like a minute each to spar, me and Jamal. We're not going to fight back, but we're going to stand there and take the punishment. And as much as we couldn't let them go and compete properly or competitively, I wanted to replicate as close as we could the feeling that you get when you go in the ring and it's for real, because that is the thing that sport gives you that money can't buy. You can't do that on the Nintendo Wii. You can't do that in sparring when it is the real thing. You've been in the ring, Baba. When it's the real thing, it's the real thing. Nothing compares to that moment when someone's trying to take your head off and you're trying to do the same thing, you know. And when the bell goes, it's all finished and you're friends again.
That in itself is a fix that many people find hard to let go of.
True.
You know.
True.
So yeah, it's definitely different. So I mean, moving on a little bit. Did you just stay in that particular place, or was you moving around different places?
For a week, we were based in the Salam school, and it culminated with this performance, and everyone did really well. One boy actually pulled out at the last minute. He kind of bottled it. I said, I can't do it. I said, look, no problem. Have you got anyone that can do it? And he went and got his mate who wasn't as good as him, but anything goes. It was just nice to have that moment, and everyone was loving it. And off we went to kind of after the week is finished, like celebration in the five-a-side football pitch. There was a football match. Talking of which, we've got an important one coming up.
You've got all night for that.
Yeah. But we did that, and we all came together. We gave out the awards, and this kid, Mohammed Noor, got his award for being the best boxer of the week, and we got pictures together. And then he was so happy to be, credited with what he'd done, and then he just kind of walked off, and he went down the side of the school on his own, next to the fence, and just as the sun was setting, he looked out into the distance, and I went over to him, but I gave him a little moment on his own. I don't think he needed that, and then I went over there, and he just he pointed, and I knew exactly what he was going to say. Syria. Yeah, there's my country over there. And he was like tears in his eyes, and I had tears in my eyes as well. And I hugged him. I said in broken Arabic, like, don't forget me, and one day you'll be a champion. Remember this. And I had to go. And I said, I'll see you in Syria. And I left him.
Do they really believe that one day, inshallah, they'll get their country back?
You have to believe it.
Sorry, you have to.
If you don't,
that's the only hope. I understand. I can understand. I can't really understand.
The next week, I met people who have been hoping since 1948, and we'll come on to that. But having left him and getting on the bus, I thought I just have to go now. And I thought everyone was going, but I sat there for 5 minutes. People were still finishing their drinks and whatnot, and I saw Mohammed Noor walking with his head down on his own again. Like, oh my God, I can't leave it like this. I got back off the bus, ran over to the guy with my bare hands. I said, "Come on, last time, jab cross. Give me a jab. Give me 4 straight shots. Hook." And he started boxing in front of me, and then other kids gathered round, and they want to get everyone on. I'm like, let him do it. And he just had went out with one last bang, and then everyone just jumped on me and bundled me, basically.
Could you, get emotional with these kids? Yes, obviously, what I mean by that is attached. You obviously would have to have knowing that, you're there for a certain cause.
We all got emotional,
That's probably would have been hard not to.
I like to think I'm a hard man, but maybe you'll disagree. But I don't cry often.
Do you stop that?
I'll prove it anytime you want. Anytime, any place.
In your mind.
Yeah. We're ready for it. You want another sporting event? I'm ready.
There is one coming up actually in your field. It's in the planning, yeah.
Well,
yeah. I'll let you know what that's about.
Especially that Jamal and I were there in the context of being boxers. Whether we're hard men or not, we were certainly regarded as harder than photographers or expert flower pressers or whatever, But
who's this joker holding the pads?
Yeah. I was not ashamed to shed a tear, and I just, having left that in that moment, and knowing that next week is going to seem very quiet for him and for me, and I've got to go now on to the next country. And if I'm upset by that, imagine how they are living there for 2 years. And it was just the fact that almost a guilt for making them happy for a week, and then what? Back to normal. So we wanted to leave them with something that you can take away forever, which is the experience in a sport or a skill or whatever. Money you can spend, food you can eat, an experience you can kind of. You hold on to that.
A memory. I'm sure he's got fond memories as you have. They look back when.
I really hope so.
Is there any chance that that you can get in contact with them? It's for people like, you know, when you sponsor a child, they give you updates and whatever.
Well, the Zaytuna project, the nature of it has always been that they don't go back to the same place, and they make sure they spread. This is what they said in the meeting, that they go from place to place to kind of. I mean, I may be wrong. Someone will correct me. That they will spread around
See, I don't like the idea.
That's what they wanted to change, and they were saying it may be that we now attach ourselves to this school and actually do more long term. With those individuals. Because
otherwise, I think you're just leaving scars, like you say. Otherwise, you're showing someone a glimpse of light, and then just dropping them.
I think that's what you're
giving a glimmer of hope, and then you're just walking away from them. I think whoever this charity is doing, you should just focus on one school and develop that and give the people there hope. I mean, that's my own individual thing. I mean, like you said, you spent. What's that guy got to look forward to next week? If Zaytuna came back every so often, there's hope in his heart. That's all right. Julian might come back, or so and so might come back. There's something to look forward to.
I'd love to do it again, and if we did, I would hope it would be with the same individuals.
With the same people, yeah. I mean, that's my opinion. I know what the listeners think.
I know the how can I say? It's not the same, obviously, going away to a different country and then going to a refugee camp where people are displaced. But now you've got that experience of, helping young kids and seeing that sort of twinkle in their eye when, where they got that, excitement in them. Doesn't that now give you some sort of motivation where you want to do something more locally, or do you still feel that? Because what I'm saying is that if you go abroad, where you'd only have a set amount of time, because obviously you've got to come back home, you can't stay here forever.
Charity starts up.
Hasn't this experience given you some sort of motivation where you think, right, maybe I could do something more permanent at a local level, and where you can actually always be there?
That's a very good point.
As you just said, charity.
And maybe that is the way to look at it. I mean, one doesn't have to negate the other. I think in the days of the internet, something you set up here can be teamed up with projects abroad. But certainly, if you lay the foundations locally, yes, it will be more sturdy and something that you can continually contribute to. And that is a good point. So we went from Turkey to Lebanon, a week in Turkey, a week in Lebanon. Soggy.
See, Barbara brought up an interesting point there. Would it not be possible for you to set up your own individual charity and go back to where you've been and carry on the project you did? Would that not be possible? I know you've done it under Zaytuna. I mean, is it not possible for you to...
We called the project Boxing for Syria because the intention was to give boxing training to Syrian refugees that week, and that time it was for Zaytuna. We then took it to Lebanon and did the same in a Palestinian refugee camp. So
under the banner of Zaytuna?
Off our own back for the Karam, for the Nakab Foundation rather, in Berj al Berajneh refugee camp in Lebanon. So having drilled this boxing training, having seen what works and what doesn't work, having bought the equipment, which is now currently residing in Lebanon. It's there for us should we return. We have this project up and running, and we are ready to go with it. Again, if anyone's got any ideas or suggestions of where you think
who's we?
Training is, myself and Jamal, who was my training partner out there. So yeah, we would like to take it on the road again. We left the equipment. I'll tell you a story about it. The equipment has been a curse that got me in prison, and I'll come to that shortly.
And there's a lot of people going, "Oh no, not Julian. He's nice, he is."
Yeah, well, that I might as well get to the second chapter now, which is going from Turkey to Lebanon and how I wound up in.
How was you travelling? Train, bus, feet, camel, horseback, donkey?
We were oh God, I took, was it 6 flights in 2 weeks?
You're flying?
Yeah, flying.
Really?
So from we left the kids in the Salam school, and all the international contributors went back to their various homes or onto the next part of the journey, whether they're going back to Brazil, back to America. Some people went back to Istanbul and stayed some time there. So we flew back to Istanbul to get the international flight to Lebanon. And we checked our luggage in.
I'm going to listen out there. Where is Lebanon? What is Lebanon?
Lebanon is a very small country to the north of occupied Palestine, so-called Israel, with the Mediterranean on its coastline, and surrounded by Syria on the other side. It's a very diverse country, something like 17 or 18 different ethnic and religious sects. It's maybe 30 to 40% Christian, 60% Muslim split, majority Shia, many Sunni as well. Thousands of Palestinian refugees who have lived there since 1948, and more recently who live there not as citizens but as refugees living in the camps. They're discriminated against there. They can't get jobs. They live within the camp that are run by the PLO. It's like a separate entity. You've also got Hezbollah control much of the country, and we've got a cool hosts.
Sorry, that was my cue. I should have said that.
No, you should.
You're a guest today.
Straight to air if you want. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, caller.
Hi.
Who's
am
this?
I on?
You're on the air. You're on the Late Show.
You're live.
Okay. Sorry. This is Soab.
So, welcome to the show.
Thanks. I was just hearing. The last thing I heard was that they were wondering if you could just set up your own charity.
Yeah. What's your view on that?
No, it wasn't so much setting up his own charity. What I was basically trying to say was that he could do something more locally and more permanent, that would probably give him the same sort of feeling.
Boxing for England. English refugees.
Well, I actually think that's like a really good idea, especially if you've established like connection with the kids, and it's definitely possible because like so long as you have the contact with the school, like for example, so I went with them on the trip as well, and for example I returned to Berj al Berajneh camp in Beirut, where I had done work every year for the past 2 years. But this is my 3rd time there, and so always seeing the same people and the same connections, and they really like that. A lot of these centers are more than happy to accept volunteers on a regular basis. So I think it's possible. And we were also talking about doing coming back to Berj next summer and doing a summer camp with them again.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
Yeah. It's not like we do one thing and then forget and move on. Just in the case of Zaytuna, correct me if I'm wrong, Thawab, because you were at the meeting. Didn't Mohammed Ojed say in the past they had done it in a different school every year, but he wanted to change that for the reasons we said?
If I understood him correctly, he said that in the past they made a decision to go somewhere new every time.
Yeah.
Except they had a hard time leaving Salam school in the winter, so they came back in the summer. So now, for the next program, they're going to go to a different school or center or camp. They're gonna change it, and I think their philosophy behind it is to kind of to benefit as many people as they can.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the dilemma, isn't it? You either benefit a lot of people a little bit, or a few people a lot.
And they also for example, in Zaytuna, at Salam School, they set up a playground there. They painted the mural on the school. They made it beautiful. They made the school really beautiful. So that is like a permanent thing that lasts even after they leave. And so that's what they'll probably do at their new place, I think. But I can't speak for them. That's just what I understood.
Well, thank you for your details on that one.
Yeah. I didn't like how you said photographers are not tough.
Photographers are very tough. Photographers and then boxers.
I'm sure.
Said,
I hope Julian can handle a photographer.
Twab, are you one of these many Julian's fans?
Fans or friends?
A fan.
No, I'm his friend, but not his fan.
Not his fan, thank you.
Who are these fans?
I will go into that later on. There's so many out there.
Yeah.
Soggy wants his own fans.
No. I don't have any friends, so fans would be nice. But I just want to clarify that you're a friend and not a fan. Thank you.
Yeah, and I went with him as well on this project, so I'm not calling because I'm a fan.
Where did you go to with Julian? You're going to make a lot of people jealous here.
Because I went with Julian. I didn't just go with him. There was a group of us.
Oh, okay. We don't have to talk about the group. We just talk about yourself. Where exactly did you go?
Well, we went. I was also part of the Zaytuna program, and I did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I did photography with the kids. And sun prints.
Joking aside, photography was really popular. The kids loved it.
Is there a website that we can view these pictures?
There is actually. There is. I can send the link to the page.
Yeah, please do. So, please do. I mean, it'd be nice to actually get a feel of what was actually going on out there.
Yeah, but it wasn't normal photography with cameras. We did sun prints, which are basically you can decorate a piece of paper and you leave it in the sun, and it creates a beautiful print. And we asked the kids to draw pictures of Syria or how they remembered Syria.
Oh, wow.
So it was really we saw some really powerful prints of their homes in Syria, their villages, the gardens they remembered in Syria, and a lot of them wrote messages of freedom, and we want freedom, we want peace. But one girl, she drew the word Syria. She wrote out the word Syria in English, and the word was like bleeding, like it was dripping blood. And she's only like 10 years old, but...
How old was she?
Only 10. And a lot of these kids, some of them have only gotten to Turkey a few months ago. So a lot of them have seen bombs, have seen death, have seen, they're new refugees. It's not like they've been there for a while, especially, the Syrian kids we worked with in Turkey. And
what was your lasting memory as you left the place? What will you hold dear to your heart as a treasured memory?
Well, that's difficult to pinpoint, but I think at the end, when we had the end of year ceremony, and this is not even related to my workshop, but one of the girls I taught, she at the end of the ceremony she had made me this bracelet, and she gave it to me, and she was just crying, and we were all telling each other that we'll see each other in Syria again. And I'm Syrian myself, so, just hearing that from refugees that just came from Syria and hearing how much hope they had, despite witnessing the war itself, it gave me a lot of hope as well.
Okay, so I'm sorry, Syria, we've got to stop you there. We've got to just shoot through the show and all that. Thanks for your call, really appreciate it.
Of course, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
One of your many friends there, Julian.
For what was a photography project, it went really well actually. I think art is sport and art are two ways that you can express your emotions, your feelings, and I think that was really important. But going back to getting to Lebanon
Oh yeah, that's
from
where we
Turkey.
were. No horse and cart.
No horse and cart, no
No
camel.
donkeys, no camel.
We flew from Istanbul, well, from Mehranli to Istanbul to Beirut. And when we got there, the problem, having got through customs and whatnot, the problem arose that our luggage hadn't arrived, the boxing equipment, basically. We're waiting by the conveyor belt, you know, when you think, here comes my bag.
Oh, okay.
My bag's coming in. Everyone else has got their bag.
Yeah.
Where's mine? This is it. No, still nothing. So
An hour and a half later.
was that, and they said it's been delayed. It's gonna be on the next flight. So you have to come back tomorrow. So off we went to the refugee camp with. We stayed hotel first night, but off we went without our luggage. You know. And then
Well, you didn't receive any of your luggage?
we had hand luggage,
Apart
but
from the
the
hand
stuff
luggage.
and the important stuff like the boxing gloves, which you need for boxing,
For boxing.
was not with us. And then the next day, Jamal phoned up to find out, can we get our luggage, and they said yes, coming around midnight tonight. So we headed to the refugee camp.
How far was the refugee camp from the airport?
Not far. I mean, Lebanon's a tiny country. Beirut is the capital city. It's not huge. So we were in Berj al Berajneh Palestinian refugee camp, since 1948, and we headed off in the dead of night to get our equipment. And this is when things started to go wrong. We got, so that's myself, Jamal, and a friend from the camp called Abu Ali.
Did you have a tour guide? Did you have a guide?
As in a book? Or
No, as a personal guide.
Well, our friend from the camp,
Okay.
Abu Ali, was who we were staying with, was with us. We got to the airport, and they said, "You're going to have to come back tomorrow. The flight has landed, but the luggage desk is not open or whatever. So come back at 8 a.m." And I was like, "No, man." And I said, "Shall we just wait in the airport?" I said to Abu Ali, "Go home and we wait here." And he's like, "No, you know, it's 6 hours. You're gonna come home." So 3 of us, a Palestinian, who don't have a passport. They don't have. They just have a Palestinian document. They're not citizens. They're not Lebanese citizens. They're Palestinian refugees, even though they're born there and their parents are born there, possibly. Myself, Abu Ali, and Jamal. I'm travelling on an Irish passport. Jamal is travelling on a British passport. My beard was longer at that point, and the whole of the Lebanese security forces are on edge about foreigners coming for a jihad. You know, my favourite people that I've spoken about before. So we get stopped at a checkpoint by the internal security forces. Where are you going? We're going to the refugee camp. Already that's suspicious. We're Palestinian, British, and Irish, 3 different passports. Where's your luggage? Oh, we don't have it. I thought you were coming from the airport.
Okay.
And they just didn't. Some things just didn't add up. So we got out.
Can't really blame them, can you?
Well, you can't blame them for being careful.
Like the Irish,
or
English, Scotsman, isn't it?
Well, it sounds like a joke.
Yeah, it does.
And Jamal's on a British passport, but obviously he's got a Muslim name. So these internal security forces, who are essentially police but dressed like army and armed with guns accordingly, sat us on chairs by the side of the road and were asking questions and asking other people, talking between themselves. We then got taken in separate cars, and they've already they're going through my phone. Already they're flicking through pictures on my phone. Thanks to you, Barbara Ali, they looked at some poster of should British nationals go abroad for And he's like, what's this? I'm like, it's a long story.
They go all the time in the world to listen to it.
I said basically it's for a radio show, but you're not going to believe that. He's looking at all kinds of pictures or posters from the Late Show. I'm like, oh man, this does not look good. And we get taken to the police station, where there's a bed with handcuffs attached to it. It seemed like we were in for a long night. And no one even let us sit down. And kept asking the same question, what flight are you on? And then we got taken, I think this was the first time we got handcuffed. We were taken in the police car to another location. We were taken to a cell where the three of us shared the same cell with only 2 beds and only 1 mattress. And Jamal still managed to fall out of bed. No phone call, no toilet, no food, no nothing. In the morning, we got some bread and water handed to us through the bars. I'm demanding a phone call, and the guy goes to me, "Oh, you can't have a phone call because you're not under arrest yet." I was like, "Look at me, I'm behind bars. I'm very under arrest." The same rubbish went on. They would take us out of the cell, made us take our shirts off. They're like searching us for like bullet wounds and stuff, going through all our bags, all our
belongings.
belongings.
When you said to them, "My life's not that exciting"?
Well, yeah, I was like, look, I'm just a RE teacher from England.
What part wouldn't they believe?
Well, they kept asking us.
What did they think that you were? Apart from a joke.
That week.
This one's Scottishman and Irishman.
That week, there were 3 suicide bombings in Lebanon, and I saw the smoke from one of them.
That is the reason why they're so on edge.
Yeah. Well,
do you think
the reason why they happens is because they're wasting time with us? They should be catching the real guys.
What do you think triggered them to stop you and your friends? I mean, was it your appearance? Do you think it was your appearance, the long beard?
I'm sure the beard didn't help. Also, the fact you're on different passports, travelling with a Palestinian I mean, they stop everyone at the checkpoint, but it was the questions that they asked and the appearance people, yeah. And 3 different. You know, why would you guys be together? Why? And Jamal's got a Muslim name, although he's got a British passport. You know, I was hoping that, hey, look, red passport, no problem, VIP, through you go, but it wasn't to be.
Unfortunately, it weren't in Islamabad.
No. Well, I didn't have enough money. But, they kept asking, and in Lebanon, they kept asking us, what's your father's name? And I say, well, my father's name's David. And they'll look at my passport and say, oh, it's not in here, but our passports don't say your father's name. But obviously in Lebanon they do. And in fact, because of that reason, when we met with the British consulate afterwards, they said it's a good idea to bring your birth certificate and your passport for identification purposes. But anyway, that we'd already spent one night. The day is dragging on, and Jamal kind of looked at me and said, "Oh, I hope we're out of here by tomorrow because we've got to do the boxing." I was like, "Bruv, I hope we're out of here by Friday because our flight is on Friday." This could go. We've already lost. What this could go. I could see this going on and on and on. And there was a lot of good cop, bad cop rubbish going on. This guy who called himself Ali, who tried to be our friend, he was like, "Don't worry, guys, I'm gonna help you." And I was like, "Look, how long is this gonna go on for?" And he goes, "Oh, we just need to go to my office." So we were handcuffed again, taken in separate cars again, and taken to his office, which turned out to be a maximum security prison, and he wasn't there when we got there. And we were handcuffed and blindfolded and lined up against the wall. And that is the moment when you just question: Are these the government, or are these ISIS in disguise, where they think I'm ISIS. I think they're ISIS. Somebody.
You think you was on a line there for the firing squad?
You get the paranoia sets in, but obviously I've been taken to a police station, I've been taken to whatnot, but I haven't been given.
Blindfolded.
Yeah, and the guy put his hand on my shoulder, and I turned around, and he goes, "Don't turn around." He was obviously putting his hand on me to point out who I am. He was like, "This one's the Irish one, this one's the British one, this one's the Palestinian." And I turned around and go, "Don't turn around." I was like, "Well, if you keep tapping me on the shoulder, I'm going to turn around." So we were faced against the wall, blindfolded, handcuffed, then taken deep down into the prison. I don't know why they blindfolded me, because I could still hear what level we were in the lift. Going down. You're on level 1. So it was ridiculous, but it was more like it for the terms of intimidation.
And they were trying to make you crack.
Yeah, well, I was not giving anything away.
Well, they didn't know
I admit it.
But they didn't know you were.
I'm on the Late Show. Their names are Barbara Ali and Shoggy Kumar. So look, we have
Wednesday's night.
Yeah, exactly. 01189.
Don't drag me into it.
No, I wouldn't give you away.
Thank you.
I was led into my own cell this time, solitary confinement, just a bed and a mattress and a toilet behind bar and a very dim light, and we were locked up. And the only reason that I sensed it was late was that I went to sleep was because some guy came and said good night. I had no watch, I had no phone, I had no nothing. I was stripped completely naked before I went in there, at gunpoint, and I said to him in Arabic, "Hukuk al-insaniya," human rights, and they showed me the gun.
He would have shown his human rights.
Yeah, you know, bend down, completely naked. Okay, you know, like, what can I say? It's humiliating.
Did you do the squats?
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
You have to.
I would have liked to be in that.
And
Now you're soggy in that situation.
he pulled the string out of my trousers so that I couldn't hang myself, and removed my shoes. So in I went to the cell.
Did you contemplate that?
Well, if it'd gone on any longer.
I'm contemplating it now. Listen to it.
Yeah, it was.
This ain't no joke.
It's just for real. No, but look,
that's what I'm
for
saying.
me, it is a joke because I got out in 2 days.
You have to treat it
There
as a joke.
are
now.
people who are.
You can look back and
prisons.
laugh, obviously, but this happens every day. It's an everyday occurrence to people.
There's
And some
people in there
people.
like Julian's about to say.
Yeah, there's people
sorry.
in there now, you know, and then they're not coming out and they're not laughing about it.
And they treat like every day.
And my biggest fear.
How many times do you get fed? By the looks of it, you didn't get fed. Full stop.
We got some food, you know.
Was it on a regular basis?
I would rather have been there than in Syria, and even in this country, I wouldn't like to be detained by the government for 28 days rather than 2. And that was my biggest fear. That was when I got back to Stansted, someone will pick me up and say,
they would have notified someone. Yeah, definitely.
But also, my worry was for Abu Ali, the Palestinian friend who was travelling with us, who doesn't have an embassy behind him, who doesn't have the weight of an EU passport. Yeah. He's just a Palestinian, and you could tell the disdain with which the Lebanese security forces hold the Palestinians. Every time they would burst into the room, they'd say, which one's the Palestinian? Well, you, boy, come here. You know, they treat them. But if you think Palestinians...
Why is that?
Because
where did that stem from?
Well, and I said when I mentioned it to one of the guys interrogating me, I said I feel really bad for Abu Ali. You know, he's our friend. He's a Palestinian. We're trying to do something good for his camp, and we've ruined his day.
All he's doing is trying to help.
Yeah, and the immediate reaction was from the interrogator, "Oh no, we are not racist." I said, "Well, I didn't say you were, but the fact for you to say that shows that you are paranoid about the fact that you are racist to the Palestinian people, because they are seen as unwanted guests who arrived in 1948, have lived in the camps ever since, and the Lebanese are eager to see the back of them, just as the Israelis were eager to see the back of them. Don't think for 1 minute, just because it's a so-called Muslim country or an Arab country, that everyone is standing with their brothers. No, it's not. And equally, the Syrians that are arriving as new arrivals, they don't even have the infrastructure that the Palestinians have, having been there since 1948. So
basically, I mean, you're in sort of in the middle of nowhere, really.
we don't know where we are. We haven't had any phone call. It now turns out that friends on the outside from the camp and Fawab, who's also in Lebanon with us, have worked out that we are not around and have called the embassies themselves. I mean, I said again to one of the prison officers that I didn't mind to call the embassy, and they say, we've spoken to them already. I said, which one? They said the British embassy. I said, well, I'm an Irish citizen. I want to call the Irish embassy. And they were like, yeah, we will do it. So I had no idea who was involved or who wasn't involved. But looking back on it, it seems they probably were allowed to hold us for 24 hours, and if they couldn't find anything, they had to let us go. And that's why, when I said, let me go, let me make the call, he said, well, you're not under arrest yet. He's trying to delay the clock, you know, because as soon as he says, well, we're officially arresting you, even though we've been detained already for over 12 hours, he has to then let us go within 24. So, yeah, we lost 2 nights of it. I mean, that's nothing to be ungrateful for. I'm so lucky compared to people that are in prison tonight without a phone call and without any explanation. But funny enough, a friend from the camp, Omar, who runs the Nakab Foundation that we were meant to be doing the boxing training with, he came down to try and break us out or explain the situation. And they took him in and imprisoned him and put him in the cell next door to me and told him, don't say anything, don't let them know that you are here. And in the morning when they were dragging me out to sign something, even though it's written in Arabic and I couldn't understand it, and they're like, name here. I'm like, I don't know what it says, but name. Like, I saw this pair of shoes next to my cell. I was like, why do I recognise those shoes? But I couldn't work it out. I was like, they look familiar. I couldn't work it out. And then at the end, when we were being released and having our final mug shots taken, they took a lot of pictures of us. Not when I was being strip searched. But when they finally let us go, and then Omar came out of the cell as well, and Jamal goes, oh my God, you're here as well. Is my mum here? Who else is here? It was a very, very strange moment. But it was all done and dusted, and then they were like, oh, you're going to do your boxing now. They started getting brave, and they're like, oh, we'll box with you. It's like, well, you're saying that now that I'm going. No one said this to me while we were here. I think they were. Look, we weren't treated horrendously, we weren't tortured, but they were typical thugs that got the job so they could carry a machine gun and boss people about, and they were racist to Palestinians.
So they're pretty much the same as police here?
Well, look, anyone who wants to work for a government must be corrupt. That's my final word on the Arab government or any government. But anyway,
I do like that.
I hope I get back into Lebanon next summer when I go to read.
That's my next question. Do you think they would have highlighted you as a whatever?
I hope they've ruled me out. I hope they've realised that. I mean, we were telling them. One worry we had was the fact that I travelled on my Irish passport, so there's no evidence of my visit to Palestine. My visits. Jamal, who has also entered Palestine, was given an Israeli visa in his passport. Although he asked for it in paper, they stamped his passport. So for that reason, he had to get a new passport before he left. And they would, in the police station, they were meticulously searching through the pages, and they go to Jamal, this is a brand new passport. How come? So it kind of flagged up suspicion. And he said, I put it in the washing machine. he had his story ready, almost too quickly. But you know, a washing machine. It was a washing machine. But yeah, they obviously knew that I'd been involved in other activities. I told them that we've come to help the Palestinians. So they're curious why someone wants to do that. For me, it is purely because I want to help and nothing more. I'm not into any armed conflict, but they had to rule it out. But when we finally got out, the day I got out of jail was a good day. We still had to go and get our damn equipment from the airport. We went and got it. We lugged it back to the camp, Berj al Berajneh Palestinian refugee camp since 1948. Home to 20,000 people plus, and we did our we did our boxing, and the kids loved it, but it certainly shook us up a little bit.
I was going to say, I mean, was the enthusiasm still there, or did you just want to get the heck out of there?
No. We
You never lost the enthusiasm?
When you're in the refugee camp and you see armed factions, and you see the Hamas headquarters, and you see the Fatah headquarters, and there's even Hezbollah, Bashar al-Assad's party, massive picture of Bashar al-Assad on the side of the offices. There's PFLP, Palestinian Front for Popular Front for Liberation of Palestine, General Command. All these different factions who in the past have fought with each other or who have fought against the Israelis. I feel safer in the Palestinian camp than I feel in Beirut or travelling around Lebanon. And the first thing I put when I got back into the camp and I saw the picture of Yasser Arafat, I took my picture next to it and said, among friends. And when you are among people who feel that you have an affinity with them, they will make you feel like one of them. You'll never be treated as an outsider. Whether you've got a beard or no beard, whether you've got a British passport or an Irish passport, and that was the feeling in Berj al Berajneh camp, and I'm longing to go back there. Massive attack. The band are actually there at the moment, and I was shocked to see in the article of the Independent. 3 faces that I recognised. It wasn't the band, it was friends on my Facebook. Abu Ali and Muhammad and Bob from Berj al Berajneh Palestinian refugee camp, chilling with Massive Attack.
Massive Attack.
So I'm very jealous of Massive Attack. Wish I was there. So yeah, you feel welcomed, and we watched much of the World Cup. In the coffee shop, we stayed up all night. We saw Hamas marching up and down for something. The next day, we were waiting outside the centre, and it was locked. And these old men said, "Come into our office and sit down," and gave us water. And we brought 20 kids into the offices. And Jamal just goes, "Oh, who are you guys?" We're Fatah. And yeah, you've got pictures of martyrs on the wall, and these people welcome you because they can see you've come to do something good,
positive,
in solidarity with them. So we're all talking about Gaza this week, and #Gaza. A very good friend of mine reminded me that it's not just Gaza, it's Palestine, okay? And we shouldn't perpetuate this myth that Gaza is somehow a separate entity. It's part of Palestine. And the Palestinians living in Berj al Berajneh in Lebanon, in Shatila in Lebanon, which we also visited, in Yarmouk in Syria, which is under siege at the moment. The Palestinians everywhere are part of the same struggle, and they're all longing for the same thing. So every time we remember Gaza, let's just remember the bigger picture, which is the Palestinian Nakba and the Palestinians everywhere.
What's your, I know I'm really going to say, but it's a silly question. Why do you feel the Western media is biased towards what's going on in Palestine?
Well,
from your perspective?
there's no doubt it is biased.
Oh, sorry, I mean if you feel it's biased.
Well, yeah, but I mean you presumed that, and you're right. But I think even the Western media is waking up, and people like Jon Snow are telling it like it is. Even if he can't tell it on Channel 4, he's putting it on YouTube and telling it like it is. The social media is exposing the Western mainstream media. They're biased because they have an agenda and because.
What's the agenda?
Well, Zionism is the ideology. We know what that means, and the British state is aligned with that. Therefore, the British state media will be aligned.
Well,
with
the
that.
people are confusing Zionism with an everyday Jew.
Well,
So this is where the misconceptions coming in. You know, it's like when 9/11 happened, the Americans went and battered everyone that had a turban on. You know, poor Sikhs had absolutely nothing to do with it.
I think people are waking up, and if you want to meet an everyday Jew, the Jews that are there every day, that there's a demonstration outside the Israeli embassy, are the most religious and the most orthodox. And when the demo is there on a Saturday, and I was there on a Saturday, and I saw Khalid Ismail, who we hope will return to the show. They're there and they walk there because their religion means they can't take a car on a Saturday, and they are the most critical of Israel and the most ardent supporters of the Palestinian people. So it's nothing to do with.
But this is what I'm saying. You got to put it out there.
Well,
like that. You got to educate yourself.
If
Yeah.
people need it.
I just think that what Julian's basically trying to say, overall, in conclusion, is that the media has changed. Meaning, if you look back at 9/11, you know, every single channel you turned on was maybe biased to whatever the agenda was. But now, where you've got, you know, the internet and so many different avenues of media coming through from people like ourselves, normal everyday people who just want to expose the truth. It's not about being biased, it's about speaking the truth. I think that's what's important, and I think what's happening now is finally the truth is starting to override the falsehood.
The truth is coming out.
The truth is coming out, and the more Sky News or the BBC want to be biased, you just got to look at a different avenue.
Just flick another channel.
Flick another channel, and you'll see a different opinion.
And you'll expose it.
And that's the attitude that people have to take on. I mean, it's not about being biased, and you know, it's not a Muslim thing, it's not a Christian thing, it's not a Jewish thing. It's a humanitarian thing. You know, it's for humanity. You know, and always search for the truth.
That's right.
Not being biased with your own, just for the sake of being with your own.
Absolutely, 100%. And I think that also people that used to be on the fence and say, oh well, you know, it's a complex conflict and they've been going on for thousands of years. That's a myth. It hasn't. But they have now seen the disparity and the disproportionate murder, and it's just a tragedy that it took 1,000 lives plus for them to see that. Didn't you see it before?
And counting.
Yeah, and counting. Maybe now you see it because it's on your Facebook feed, or now you've got a few more channels.
I think that one of the good things I've seen, I mean, people may get irritated by it, but Facebook is bombarded by images from Gaza and what's happening there. And whether you're a fence sitter or not, you cannot ignore that.
That's right.
And where you're finding individuals who like to sit on a sideline without no opinion, they say, just leave me alone and I'm not interested, even there it's hitting them. And they're even starting to get involved now.
That's right.
You know, that is a positive, I think.
Yes, you're right. I mean, even thinking back to 2008, 2009, when the Operation Cast Lead happened and the same thing happened, there wasn't this the same type of social media. There wasn't Twitter. There wasn't live leak. People weren't being fed the truth as much. The numbers are the same. It's still over 1,000 casualties. It's still mainly women and children, but it's now, as you say, the truth is coming out and people have access to the truth, and the truth will set you free.
Ah, beat me to my punchline.
I knew you'd say that. Go on. But unless there's further questions, gentlemen, as a guest, I think I've explained myself. I'm very glad that Boxing for Syria went ahead. I'm glad that we managed to reach Lebanon.
I actually, well, I've got an epiphany.
Yes. Go for it.
And I don't get them too often. You know, with this boxing for Syria or boxing for whoever,
Yeah.
you know, if we can sort of implement a permanent setup where we can start working on the youth on the local level and also, you know, try to see them improve as well vastly in their lives, and also then we can always leave the door open for going abroad and whatnot.
Yeah.
You know, it's maybe, you know, this is a good opportunity to implement official skills, you know, ABA qualifications or whatnot.
Yeah,
you know?
that's true.
And I think that that would give a lot of oomph in this project. You know, rather than, you know, a few guys going around with pads.
Yeah.
You know, you could say you are official.
Yeah.
You know,
You've done the
qualified
badge.
coaches.
Yeah.
And you know, you're ABA level,
Yeah.
which is worldwide.
Renowned worldwide, yeah.
Worldwide. And you know, it's something to work toward, I think.
Yeah, that's a very good idea.
The avenues are there. It's, you know, it's not difficult. I mean, there's people today asking on Facebook, Barbara, this brother, I want a boxing club to attend. And well, really, the question was directed to you.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if you replied or not.
No, I haven't.
I know you've been a very busy man and all that. I wonder what you've been doing all day today.
Yeah.
I've got a tan.
We've got a can. Yeah. So, I mean, we'll wrap up that segment of the show. We really appreciate Julian sharing his
Thoughts.
Thank you, Julian. It
it's-
makes it so much worthwhile when you've got a mouthpiece to come home and talk about it with,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. I mean, imagine those who cannot, you know, you're not allowed to say anything.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
Imagine them still in those cells Julian just been in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we were joking around, you know, because we know
Yeah.
Julian,
We
but
know it's a
You
serious.
know, you can laugh about it now. You can laugh about it. Can you? Well, picture yourself going through that.
On a daily basis.
No, just for one day.
Yeah, no. I mean, just
One
people-
day I would have been asking for my
Some of these
shoelace.
people are living like that. They live like that on a daily basis. You know, that's their life. You know, so it's not.
Okay, that's
not a
it.
joke.
Depressed me even more. Why don't you?
But yeah, that segment of the show we're gonna
We're gonna go on a break, and Julian's gonna turn into a host.
we're gonna go on a short break. We'll come back and we're gonna give a few updates on what's happening locally in the community, and inshallah, then we'll wrap the show after that.
Yeah.
So please stay tuned.
Back in a jiffy.
Back in a jiffy.
Hopefully in a few minutes.
The screen's
When you
going.
ask us all his hair out. No, not his hair out. The computer out.
Machine. But we're trying to get to a break.
I think he's been up that ladder too long.
We'd like to let the
I can do the break. Cool, after the accident.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اقتربت الساعة وانشق القمر وإن يروا آية يعرضوا ويقولوا سحر مستمر وكذبوا واتبعوا أهواءهم وكل أمر مستقر ولقد جاءهم من الأنباء ما فيه مزدجر حكمة بالغة فما تغني النذر فتول عنهم يوم يدعو الداعي إلى شيء نكر خش عن أبصارهم يخرجون من الأجداث كأنهم جراد منتشر مهطعين إلى الداع يقول الكافرون هذا يوم عسر كذبت قبلهم قوم نوح فكذبوا عبدنا وقالوا مجنون وازدجر فدعا ربه أني مغلوب فانتصر ففتحنا أبواب السماء بماء منهمر وفجرنا الأرض عيونا فالتقى الماء على أمر قد قدر وحملناه على ذات ألواح ودسر تجري بأعيننا جزاء لمن كان كفر ولقد تركناها آية فهل من مدكر فكيف كان عذابي ونذر ولقد يسرنا القرآن للذكر فهل من مدكر كذبت عاد فكيف كان عذابي ونذر إنا أرسلنا عليهم ريحا صرصرا في يوم نحس مستمر تنزع الناس كأنهم أعجاز نخل منقعر فكيف كان عذابي ونذر ولقد يسرنا القرآن للذكر فهل من مدكر كذبت ثمود بالنذر فقالوا أبشرا منا واحدا نتبعه إنا إذا لفي ضلال وسعر.
Assalamu alaikum, rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back to the Late Show. We've just wrapped up the segment with Julian, boxing for Syria, where he's basically come in, giving up his time as a guest this time, and basically, you know, just gave us a lowdown of what's happened on his travels, on his memoirs, you know. The memoirs of Julian, or the memoirs of Julie. The book is out soon. Julie.
The fans out there like to call him Julie.
Julie. I call him Julie too sometimes.
Julie, yeah. They know who they are.
But when he's you know, in his tough guy mode, then you got to call him Julian.
Yeah. When he's got to start eating some dinners to get to respect.
Julian's going down to flyweight.
Turn that fan off, please, Yasser. Don't want to pick him up from the ceiling.
Right, so just a lowdown and an update of what's happening in the community.
Suffocate.
August the 10th, Sunday, August the 10th at 2:30 kickoff.
Get there early.
Early as possible. We want to fill out the stadium.
Get there at 10, 12. We'll have some light entertainment, food stalls, whatever.
Bring your Palestinian flags, your Gaza flags. Make as much noise as you can or as you want. You know, we want to.
Bring a cricket body, you know.
Yeah, bring it all. Bring everything. We want to fill out. We want to fill out the stadium and.
Bring the babies, bring the kids. We'll treat you to some ice cream. Hopefully there'll be some ice cream there. That's a good idea, Barbara. Just thought of that.
There you go.
Write that down.
Ice cream.
Ice cream.
So, I mean, the objective of this event, Match of the Year 2014, this is the first annual Match of the Year. So basically, inshallah, this will be a yearly, once a year event.
Inshallah,
If we're event. Yeah. We've got to explain.
That's a bit around. I don't know if anybody wants to.
We've got to explain. You've got to explain it in every 12 months. Yeah.
Not necessarily on the same date.
Not necessarily on the same date. Approximately. And your take. So yeah, we started off with this event basically as another community event. Oh, let me finish my paper off. Okay, the objective of this event was basically to bring the community together, firstly, and also to showcase the footballing talent in the Asian or Pakistani community. As many of you know, there is a Asian football team, Iman FC, who play Sunday League, and they're moving up to Saturday League. They've got a...
Not moving up, formed Saturday
Oh, sorry, they formed. They couldn't move up yet. Or they're struggling to move up anywhere. Okay, anyway, so Pakistani Community Centre have selected a squad of 15 for this event. So please come and support the event. It's free entry. And on a serious note, we will be raising funds for Gaza via Muslim hands. So inshallah, it'll be a great day. Hopefully the weather will be great and everyone can get together. You know, we love bringing people together. We love the unity in the community. We love all that. So inshallah, you know, just make an effort and keep an eye out. We've actually started distributing the posters and the flyers out from today, and we're going to keep plugging it. We want a full stadium, so we want everyone to be supporting and sharing it on social media, text messages, or any way that you do.
The football side, like I keep highlighting, is secondary. It's just an event that's being staged, which is the football side of it is secondary. The idea is to generate as much money, inshallah, we can on the day. And if there are people out there that won't hear me. The event, the football match itself, like I keep saying, is a secondary thing. But the first thing, the main thing, is to raise as much money as we can on the day, inshallah, towards our brothers and sisters in Palestine through Muslim hands who we are donating funds to. If you want to donate money, then please come along and donate on the day. But at the moment we're accepting, if you want to, you know, bring in refreshment, donate some refreshments, we can sell on the day, whatever, you know, if you want to, whatever. But refreshments is light snacks and whatever, you know, will be available on the day with all proceeds, inshallah, going towards Muslim hands. You want to tell them about the trophies? There's a...
Yes. The trophy will be the FA Cup.
It is the FA Cup.
Literally.
It is the FA Cup, yeah. It's a replica of the FA
It will be up for
Cup.
grabs on an annual basis, but not exactly on an annual basis, approximately annually. Not necessarily on the same day every
Lunar
year.
calendar.
Yeah. So the cup will be up for grabs on an annual basis, inshallah. So this cup will definitely mean something. We will be looking into getting a nice cabinet, a wall cabinet, and it will be displayed in the Pakistani Community Centre. Also,
The players will get replica medals.
players will get winners' medals and runner-up medals. So everyone goes home with something. And the best thing they'll go home with is the satisfaction of knowing
They raise some money, yeah.
to a community event, and you know it was for a good cause.
Other things going on. There's another event. There's a lot of football going on. The Goals for Gaza via Interpal charity. That's in what, in 2 weeks?
Oh yes, that's on the 24th of August. There's
Which is also a Sunday.
six-a-side football tournament, Goals for Gaza, and
Goals in
it's,
Woodley.
Been set up by a group of young individuals, I believe, in the community that just took it upon themselves to set something up, and that will be at Goals in Woodley, is it?
Correct.
So yeah, keep a look out for that one as well. We will be supporting that one too.
That's charity via Interpal.
Interpal, yes, and I think that particular event will have stalls and barbecue and all other bits as well. So that's on the 24th.
And the major one on the 17th.
Oh, the 17th, yes, the Pakistani Community Centre, Pakistan Day, the 17th of August.
With
one almost.
One FM. They're going. It's a co-hosted. It's a day and a night thing, whatever that means.
Excellent.
But it's in planning.
The posters and flyers will be going out, I believe, tomorrow. So please keep a lookout for those. And from what I hear, I've never been to a Pakistan Day before, but from what I hear, a lot of people do attend. So this should be just as good, or if not better.
I think, not to be confirmed, I think for the brothers involved in the match on Sunday the week before, they get presented with their medals on the Pakistan Day. So
Yeah, there'll be a ceremony where the players will come.
Because the time is short at Pakistan at the Palm Park Stadium, so we might not have time
so
for that.
PCC select 11 will be going there with me to pick up the trophy. And Imam FC will be picking up their runners-up medals on that day. Hopefully they'll come with smiles on their faces.
And let's hope you turn up, and when you got to swallow, what did they say? What's the word there, Julian?
Your pride.
No, we ain't got no pride. He ain't got no pride. You've got to swallow, yeah, we go with pride. I can't
Sour
think
pill?
of whatever pill that you...
Humble pie.
Humble pie, that's the word I was looking for, yeah.
No,
That's the
I
word.
don't believe so.
Then, you know, I don't want you to disappear on the face of disappear or whatever. What's your ass on about?
Well, you know, I know Imanes is, you know, used to playing friendlies, but this will definitely not be a friendly come August the 8th. It's all up for grabs. Full
Yeah,
house, Palm Park Stadium.
Who's Palm Park, yeah. 750 capacity.
This isn't a kicking about on the field. Let's put it that way.
There's an exhibition of football where people that doubt that Pakistanis can play football.
Well, Apollo Creed did an exhibition against Drago. You know what happened there?
There's supposed to be an exhibition.
Yeah, but when you take the pee out of someone, this is what happens.
If he dies, he dies.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go. Exactly. So if you come with that kind of attitude to want to take the pee out of someone, you know this is what happens. You get.
The referees are neutral. The linesmen are neutral, and it's going to be a good, hard. It's going to be a good, hard, tough game of football. You know, nice,
competitive. It's a
tough,
competitive
game. Good game. You know, so, in closing, I think that's enough for tonight.
Any other messages, issues, Julian, you want to have say to your friends? No, as a thing, do you want to shout out to your friends out there, your fans? You got a major fan club out there, bro. There's a couple of your friends who said you'll give a shout out to.
Leave me alone, man.
Julian's sporting the skinny boy look these days.
Yeah, leave me alone.
Yeah, okay. The female fans out there, you know who you are. He's gone shy.
Next week's show, I believe, is going to be a good one. We will be talking about the Arab Spring.
The Arab Spring. Not the Peckham Spring.
Not the Peckham Spring, no.
Yeah.
Arab Spring. Is it really a spring? And I think the show will be titled unofficial. I think it's titled "The Media is the Tongue of the Ruler." So we're basically going to be talking about
a lot of jargon as usual.
We're talking about a lot of political stuff that's going on around the world.
Oh, you don't need me then, do you?
4 shows in a row.
You're political, Julian. You'll be hosting that one. When's our Rukia show, brother, coming back? Oh, he's next week, is he?
But he's not doing Rukia.
He's not doing Rukia. What's he doing now then?
He's playing in that particular show.
Is he? He's a man of many talents, is he?
He is, yeah.
Is he? What kind
You
of
only
do?
have the best on the show.
That's why we got Julian.
Exactly.
You guys.
I have to have you. Make sure you're there at the football on Sunday because a lot of people are coming just to see you.
I will be the mascot. I will be there.
I can get you a mascot uniform. Well, it might be too big for you now.
That's alright, I'll be there.
Okay, good man. Yeah, so you want to wrap it up? Like, you know, say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh from him. And it's good night from him. And it's over to you, young man.
Please tune in next week, Wednesday, from 9:30 p.m.
Inshallah.
The Late Show. We're always live. And we are over and out. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
الله ما عبدنا من دونه من شيء نحن ولا